From now on, Kuraki-san's radio recording will begin. No illusions to live by!
I'm doing it the same as always, almost every day of the week. I'm living the same way I do, but there's a lot more weight on me than before. There's a strong tightness on my chest, and I don't know what to call it. And there's something else too. I keep trying to find out why. Yesterday, it was the same. And in the daydream too, I'm doing the same thing I used to do. So why is this pain so strong? This were only about the years and passing since more than 10 years ago. I'd say people get old, that's normal, but what I fear most is hopelessness. It's hope and drive. I'm afraid of hope and happiness too. Happiness, nothing but a mistake to me. Things will go well from now on. Life is wonderful. I'm glad I said that back then. I should treasure this. Or this is a lie made a story to me. When hope or drive goes up, the form after return gets bigger too, so the brain treated it as a risk first. That's why there's a fear at title things going up. Almost everything people interpret fiction to me. I don't really see realist itself. There are people out there who try to make others believe that's good, or that there's reason to live, using every trick they've got. I think they wouldn't believe they've got or reason to live. They just wanna make friends. It's nothing but a shared religion. There's nothing absolute. There's no need to prove that. Everyone should already know it. I can't understand the people who believe deeply. I would never do that. I've got the kind of pride built from birth, but it's the sense of justice. Of course, high and suddenly doesn't necessarily mean fiction. But how about believing something absolute exists? Like I said, story making is nothing but self-defense or group function to me. Simpler words, the idea that life has meaning or that God existed, something people made up, and the goal to feel safe or to make friends. So it isn't a story, but the real world. It's a convenient story. That's why it all looks like fiction to me. I pay more attention to why people say things than to what they're saying. The reason behind the thinking it always comes back to wanting to feel safe, like a lucky charm, supposedly bringing good luck. To me, that's only making a source of comfort, holding hopes, self-defense, religion's protection against fear. Bodies are only there's a capable group together. Next point, I want this show to talk about the pain of not think it's all illusions, nothing the contradiction, and how hard living gets. Starring story at nothing less painful. But if I keep doing it, I won't need saving anymore. What I wanna say, once you accept that life is no meaning, you can still feel it's fine to keep living. I don't wanna push more idea or make some claim. But of course, saying life with no meaning is only one interpretation, not a fact. Still, if I keep saying that, I can't accept nothingness. So I'd end up spending my whole life searching for an answer to life, leaving aside whether life actually has its meaning or not. If I decide there's no absolute reason to live, I don't have to hold anything. Staring at nothingness can make things easier. That's something that can really happen. It's lower expectation and cut down disappointment. But for some people, desire drives sure too. I know that well. The reason behind action gets weaker. People have a circuit that makes meaning and circuit that's doubt it, both at the same time running to either side of the problem. I get that, and I feel that way myself. My meaning-making circuit runs normally too. But if I mixed up meaning and whether I act external in meaning disappeared and I can't act for me, it isn't there I believe meaning exists. It feels more like I'm using meaning. Using it when it's convenient, since it doesn't really exist as a solid thing. I feel it's fine to just use it. Whatever in my head, I can just use it. Still, most people probably doesn't need to accept nothingness. Some people fight to find a new meaning for life instead. So for people who don't need an answer, that this isn't a problem. But for people who need meaning to be fixed and certain, they follow an endless search for the right answer, and they're chasing the correct answer. But it's their really correct answer. No, probably not. They wonder their whole life. Of course, for most people today, food is for comfort, work is for keeping life going, or for experience. So whether life is meaning sits outside the center of things from them, but there really are people who suffer through life and ask why they're living when everything ends someday anyway. When people chase meaning like that, it's turned something hard to handle. What I've been saying might sound confusing, but I'm denying meaning for life as a whole. I'm just not holding too much meaning for the action right in front of me. So there's a breaking part and accelerator part of my meaning. And I go back first when them who I keep feeling meaning all the time. Meaning turns wild, and at some point I stop and think that's that meaning, and this since life is no meaning or always. Anyway, this must have the meanings either, but whether life is meaning and whether I act right now are two different things. They're separate. I should mix them together. So I treat meanings as a stool, not a brush. It's the same with meaning and with nothingness. I don't follow despair over life having no meaning, and I don't hold hope either. I just keep it tame. Who there's no meaning, fine. I'll just do what I want. Next point, I only find it funny watching people around me hold an illusion. I understand it. I know my thinking is heavily one-sided, but who do people would have to run it when they'll suffer either way? Maybe by genetics I balance these things out in a convenient way, and I can't build something that gives me comfort and then just let it go and take it in my life, and that's good. Why keep something like that? Once I notice an illusion, I fall in a despair. I know there's no absolute reason to live. I have no plan to convince myself that's the meaning. I know it's an illusion, so I know it's a lie. Comfort is only comfort, it isn't truth. Comfort never works for me. Sadly, even when it works, it only lasts a moment, whether it's genetic or environment. Living in a convenient way and hurt reality for me. I'm a source of comfort to be something that lift me up from good, but comfort is only over temporal supported by nature, but that meaning probably built in the world. Comfort itself, I know there's no absolute reason to live, so I don't you see a reason to cling to that illusion either. And that puts me out of step with people that kind of isolation in that I have zero accountability. Religion language most people use. It's be a problem who I did with, and I don't. Next, I stopped holding down my emotion. Once I understand there's no such thing as worldly desire, pleasure itself became the newest sounds to me. Swing emotion or frightening. The backlash after pleasures frightening. I don't do the things I drive. I live because I have to live. That's the feeling. I get through my routine, not our duty and not willingly either. I got the resolve to live. I don't have time to run in a getting up on myself. I'm not a hedonist. When I'm ascetic either. Compared to people who see pleasure as evil, I think strong resistance built from pleasure drinks solve along with it. I stay on guard against that instability. What I'm aiming for is an excitement. It's a state that doesn't rise too high and doesn't fall too low. Staying low all the time, but rising too high is the problem as well. It isn't that I live because I want to live. It isn't that I'm throwing my life away either. My position is I live because I decided to live. Buddhism terms this point toward making attachment, cutting down pleasure. I guess salvation or enlightenment isn't my goal. I don't feel like something that used to support me has disappeared. I quit religion, and I knew going back to comfort would only be a temporary cover-up. I stopped believing religion power could fix anything, and once that was gone, worry about the future got stronger. That's a real problem. I turn realistic. By the way, who I've been living a normal life, I don't think I could quit religion even though it was pretty strange. I turned realistic and got able to see reality clearly. I noticed the occult and the absolute right. I quit religion, and around that same time, I became a hikomori. I don't have a positive feeling about becoming a hikomori, but at the point, every absolute value and social standard get stripped away from me completely. So I don't say it's failure or success. I could just feel it was good until I quit religion. Before, comfort and absolute meaning worked. At least a real psychological support for me. But now I've come to think it's only a temporary sense of safety, not a real solution. And I got able to see reality itself. Worry went up, but my grip on reality got stronger. Once I look at reality, I see sickness, accident, how unstable society is showing up everywhere. It isn't strong, that's worry, but the future got stronger. but I can't believe in anything absolute anymore. Going back to comfort is an option for me now. Normally, when illusion breaks down, worry goes down. That makes sense too. God protect me. Effort gets reward. I'll be fine. Losing that kind of guarantee usually brings worry. Deciding to stop trying to control the outcome can actually lower expectation and lower worry too. Maybe that's my state for me. Once I got able to see reality clearly, my heart didn't get lighter. Some people get more worried after leaving religion. Some get relieved, some get both. I can't say which one I am. When I was in religion, there was a worry tied to the next life, worry from reality. Now I know that all the worry was illusion. Instead, there's a real fact that people can get an accident anyway, or something can happen anyway. This world could even be called a living hell. Maybe that's too strong, but it feels close to that for me. While I was in religion, I never looked straight at that fact. In that sense, I got more worried, but the worry tied to strange next life, or worry about whether I'm following the teaching right, whether I'll be saved. That's kind of obsessive worry, I think. Anyway, anyone in religion is that. That worry disappeared. That kind came from the relationship with belief and values. My worry now comes from real condition. I might get sick. I might be left behind. An accident can happen. This isn't guaranteed, but it's possible. That's a different kind of worry. Closer to something built from real condition. Next point, the idea that God already wrote every phase, like writing a script is what I keep saying. It isn't people writing the story on their own feet. It's God writing the story directly. Until now, I thought people write their own story, meaning hope for me. Maybe God writes it the same way. This is a wild idea too hard for Japanese people to get their head around. People think they write their own life story, but instead God writes it. I don't mean God's writing God's own story. I wanna keep the relationship between the story I always talk about and God writing a script. And these two ideas can't both be true at once. Someone has to be the author. Who got to write the script done to me? Even got the only story religion. So it isn't relevant to me. Sharp people probably already notice who got to write the script. Wouldn't it write the same meaning and hope story people normally write? But once someone believes in God, that's already a story too. Also having a dream, making a plan for that future, working hard, believing effort is meaning, or thinking my own hope is given by God. Hope doesn't disappear because and that's so it still means understanding even as a single storyline, but rather than writing the story myself, it's like handling a whole life story written by God. In that moment, people understand this as one storyline. So it's more like being handed the story and watching it, feeling it out. There are some are going to discover it, and the feeling behind people making up their own story process, believing in God's plan, probably completely different for them. But to me, they look similar since both connect event and one meaningful story, being things explained or being the one explained to bother me. Unlike most people, normal people feel at ease when things get explained. Once the world gets explained, they settle down. But one thing gets explained to me, I feel place. Maybe I'm afraid of getting locked in a one fixed way thinking too. I'm afraid that I resist having what I'm explained with a fixed answer, and that goes for developmental difference too, for being human, for personality. But I chased perfection, not some objective, absolute perfection, more like the perfection I personally feel satisfied with. No, so maybe I'm chasing the illusion of perfection, but whether something perfect is something I decide myself, so maybe it isn't illusion. That's why I keep chasing it. Even when I say I chased perfection or chased the illusion of perfection, it isn't that I believe some absolute perfect thing exists. It's more that I wanna reach something good by my own standard, but maybe believing perfection exists are at all already an illusion, even knowing that in my head I might still chase the illusion. So I decide myself what counts as perfect. It isn't standard given my societal code. I can aim for something good with my own standards, so I don't want the whole world locked shut by explanation, but I still want to keep improving and keep pursuing things both at once. This perfection I'm chasing, of course, it'd be better not to chase it, but I chase it anyway, in a way. Who reality itself claims that perfect state that's an illusion, and in another way it isn't. When the deal gets too high, it drifts from reality and turns in a religion. Reality is constantly. People have limits, and the higher the it must be this way. Ideal gets the bigger the gap from reality gets. So I'm not really think reality is anymore. So chasing perfection get end up meaning in a way believing perfection exists inside me. Simply wanting to move in a good direction. The fine on its own, by the way, who's nothing absolute. There's no destination to aim for. So why can I still aim for something not even calling it a goal? It's because people have some kind of pointer built in. We are animals after all, no matter how much philosophy or religion gets taught to this head, this body is still here. So pleasure and pain as feelings still exist, and some kind of pointer comes out, then that's natural. Pain feels like pain. That's separate from philosophy. What I'm talking about now, what is this thing chasing perfection? It's like climbing a mountain, knowing the summit doesn't exist, but still climbing a different mountain, believing that summit doesn't exist. It isn't quite that. It's more like believing there's a better state ahead and doing what's in front of me. So I'm not chasing perfection, while believing in some cosmic absolute right answer. It's probably closer to just moving towards something better. By the way, artists say there's no such thing as finished work. Scholars say the same thing, and yet they still keep polishing their work. That looks like a contradiction, but it's close to what I mean here. But here's where a problem shows up. Nothing is absolute. The idea of a better shouldn't exist. There's no goal. There shouldn't be any way to get closer to it. Or does the word better even get its ground? Better only makes sense compared to something without any standard for comparison. It gets hard to define improving, worsening, progressing. Maybe people just have their own standard built in. Like I said, pride or something genetic. Otherwise, humanity wouldn't have survived 7 million years through all this philosophical struggle. What convinced me, what felt beautiful, what stayed consistent with less self-deception. Art or ideas that follow pattern tend to be standard honestly without anything absolute. I don't know what I should even aim for. My head spins. Humanity should have gone extinct by now, but it's still surviving, and that's got to be the survival instinct. So it isn't that people lived because life is meaning. It's that the drive to keep surviving is living things was working underneath. And so even when someone's worldview crafts or meaning disappeared, growth fuzzy, people don't disappear and the heart keeps hitting, the stomach still gets hungry, sleep still comes for me. Why I'm living doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that I'm living. Next, I was actually in religion for 27 years, and now I can't reach comfort anymore, and I can't reach disappear either. And it is neutral, and it isn't corrupt either. As a result, my days turn a running routine like a machine. That doesn't mean I've got no feeling. It's that I don't chase comfort anymore, and I don't throw everything away and disappear either. No, it's closer to just doing what I decide to do. I don't state my whole life heavily on hope, and I don't lean on comfort either. I just do going good. I don't feel much either way. There's worry, there's hesitation, but I keep going without falling apart. So calling myself a machine that just keep running isn't quite right. There's persistence in their feeling there, maybe survival instinct, maybe resolve. Earlier I said I need both the breaking part and meaning driving part, the brake and the accelerator both together, and or I'll be in trouble. But whether I'm running and whether there's meaning are two separate things. So even when I keep thinking there's not meaning, I don't stop getting hungry, getting sleepy. This happens to people even when people feel zero meaning in life every time for sure. So meaning working is the accelerator isn't so universal truth for me. Survival habit resolved and feeling works as the accelerator. So it works out that I can keep moving even without meaning. I think among people who can't feel meaning in life the same way, not only because religion part past, but because they lean strongly toward obsessive thinking or can't easily get driven. This way, living might work for them too. Now, I've just changed clothes. I'm recording yesterday. I felt at the English session. Fell in a disappeared, slept a little, but I couldn't sleep the rest of the night. And yesterday, out of the ordinary, and Dad came home late and woke me up, and I couldn't sleep. When stress like that hits that before sleep, kind of second disaster happened for me. My own kind of second disaster, I handled the failure well enough, but I started wondering who that was even worth it. I thought that again earlier, wondering if I wasted my time, and I started to panic. The chasing the clothes either earlier. I actually got it wrong. My routines are rather different than usual. I take my top of lay it down so it doesn't touch the floor and gets changed, but I put it to the side by mistake, and that broke the routine, and the toll got laid wrong too. That was a big failure. I made the same mistake many times before, and I finally built the habit doing it right. But doing anything different from usual breaks me. It also, when I washed my hand, thinking I'd wipe with a towel afterward anyway, I did it rightly. That felt like not enough. That felt like a failure too. Also yesterday, our baseball team's manager got replaced partway through. There was a reason for it, but my mom seemed to think the person she liked was one who was quitting. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I thought it didn't matter this time either, but what this person said was serious sense of responsibility, and even one small thing like that makes them harder to trust. They've made the same mistake before. And things like that so confidently again. Yesterday too, saying it with full confidence. Also yesterday, there was that irregular religion matter. We finally talk about it again, Mom. Don't do this. With a bad answer, I forget the content, and it surprised me for a second every time. And someone it gets smooth over whether it's an excuse or not. Maybe not even meant as one, but it gets swept away like it's never happened, and that doesn't feel good. Also, I've been pretty sleepy since morning, tired and bodied, but I'm recording this Japanese session anyway, and it isn't going efficiently, and I keep wondering who this was worth it. Also, the podcast I'm listening to right now, I've been wondering about it lately. Though the first philosophical text sounded interesting, but tonight I wonder who this is even the time to be listening to the podcast when something annoying like yesterday happened. I started treating time as usually precious. Meaning starts building up around time and the same runaway, thinking I always talk about kicks and making me think there must be something more I could be doing. It's a tough call. I wanna keep listening to the end. I put in my favorite, and there's more life to listen to. That reminded me back in high school. Dad threw its chopsticks during a meal I was eating. Mom was asleep too. I left her asleep, and Dad came back and got angry and threw the chopsticks. Thinking about it again, I still don't get why. The question was why I didn't wake my mom up. That feels off point. Maybe he was just angry from just waking up, but that wouldn't make sense either, and that's not something worth going angry over. Next, does conform exist? Whether it's existed before or not. Absolute comfort doesn't work either way. Even without it, people laugh it off in daily life, so I think whether it would function matter more than whether it exists for me. Comfort doesn't function. Actually, I don't think absolute comfort exists at all, and because it does exist, I feel free to build my own version of comfort. Right, I thought hard about the definition of got before to how did I run out in the end. Even the definition of God state is unclear. Even without clear shared definition, people still stays unclear, and even without a clear shared definition, people still believe, thinking hard about how religion itself treats the idea of God nearly broke me head. That's got rough. Anyway, definition very completely. Some religions say there are many gods. Some say there's one. That's not all either. So the definition of God itself is all over the place, but everyone acts like that some shared image of God and absolute was everyone agree on, calling it all God with a single word, and even though the definitions are completely different. Since there's no absolute comfort, people are free to build their own God, and that's probably why so many religions exist, like turning a band in a God by worshipping it. That's the kind of God that freedom exists in a way. There's no absolute comfort, but someone saying, still, to me it exists makes me wanna ask who they're okay. Whether absolute comfort actually exists doesn't matter that much maybe, because even if it exists, it wouldn't do anything for that person's worry or pain. It wouldn't function. But on the flip side, even a comfort that doesn't exist becoming the God the moment someone believes it's act on it. That's a tricky part through, like, who I love eating something and I turn out not go that's not just wrecked on it. No comfort on that. Same question. Do I have to believe God exists, but it doesn't matter? Cake works the same way. It doesn't need to be real. Who someone realizes and says there's cake in a fridge, that's why alone create something to look forward to. That's what God likes. Believing about lie that there's a cake becomes a hope, and the same goes for comfort and hope. Whether it's real matters less than whether it's function. So whether it's true doesn't matter. And I think that's exactly what's religion. Since I was in religion, I get it. How much you believe in what matters. Believing the rule worry and keeps life running as long as you can believe it. But if that's zero credibility, and it turns strange fast. So to me, people and religion are only functional things. All these different forms came out people facing worry, pain, and death. So I think it's a structure close to art or science, but people in religion, people who build religion, probably believe something absolute in the real. Of course, they'd say it's real. Even the founder would say that, but maybe the founder, unlike the believer, knows deep down nothing like that exists, and that's exactly what lets them to do it. I wonder if a lot of spiritual people are like that. Past life readers, medium. Maybe they know underneath it's a shared religion. Nothing really there. Who they truly believed something there. Wouldn't they end up doubting it themselves? I couldn't do that. Believing in something invisible and building a whole life on it, I can't do that. What used to be visible could stop being visible, could sing spirit and religion. Soon structure and the brain shift it stops appearing. Maybe dopamine or some brain chemical, maybe something to do with vision. Creating that illusion somehow brain chemicals could make it stop appearing to. It's a strange way to put it, but normally people would say religion got built because truth or comfort really exist, but I think reverse. It's got built exactly because comfort can't be proven. Getting in a God again, come back to that same point. Next, some people can hold hope that they'll get comfort someday. Someday. That much I don't even have. Isn't there someone out there who can't even hold hope that hope will come someday? Someday. Someone who is no, but still hold hope that it'll come. Comfort, hope, despair, purpose, drive, believing in this person, things will work out. Trusting this person is my most important thing. That story stopped functioning for me. I don't want it wrapped up nearly with words like throw reasoning close off like that. My real question was whether I can act even without meaning or comfort, why I'm still able to act. And the answer is I can act even without meaning or comfort. Next, normally never being able to hold comfort for life would be painful, right? But it isn't quite the result. But it isn't quite the result of accepting I'll never hold anything absolute for life either for me. It's closer to giving up. It's closer to giving up than to the result of accepting I'll never reach comfort. Once I gave up, it stopped hurting. It isn't that I'm refusing comfort, it's that comfort never existed to begin with. Something the mind creates to trick itself and thinking it's just something I'm watching religion, so it doesn't disappear over never being saved from life either. Despair usually comes from the structure of wanting something and never getting it, even if it hurt at first. There's no need to keep chasing something that isn't there. Same with meaning in life. Since life is no meaning, there's no need to stop, no need to chase it either. All that's left is living a day by day. Buddhism, there's the idea that letting go attachment leads to salvation for me. There's no salvation to begin with. Deny salvation itself, I think it's an illusion. Buddhism stops short of that, but I've gone all the way to thinking it's pure religion. I've been watching this as something people create, but what I've done this 7 years and to stop needing comfort is a starting condition for reality. Of course, I still doubt it, but it's more that it became necessary, more than just something I don't really have